including Buddhism, including the Hinduism, Jain, all of them, makes no difference. Christianity, Islam, all of them have the same source, and they all come from ancient Egypt, including the religion of the Olmecs, the Aztecs, the Mixtecs, the Maya, all of them. All of it comes from Egypt. Every religion on earth comes from Egypt. And they all have the same elements. And they all designed the same. All of them are designed exactly the same. And they all say the same thing. And so we need to go back to the source. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Even Judaism makes no difference. All of them come from Egypt. So you have to look at what did the Egyptians say? What was their position on everything? First of all, the ancient Egyptians tell us that all the gods are black. Every single god they know is black. You need that. That's the starting point of the religion. Every single god is black. Now you go to Hinduism, all the gods of Hinduism are black. They're Africans. Not by me saying it, but by their own Indian texts saying it. And their statues showing it. When you look at the original statues, every single statue, you can easily see it. Every single statue is an African of their gods, all of them. I don't care whether it is Rama is an African. I don't care whether it's Krishna is an African. In fact, the name Krishna means African. It means black. Yeah, it means black. And Rama had 2 children. And he ruled for 11,000 years. So we know that for a fact. We know that Rama had, his wife was called Sita, and his child was called I'm telling you historical facts. I'm not talking theories or feelings or anyone's opinion. That is meaningless at this point. We are literally talking about historical facts. What is what? Okay? So we know for a fact. Okay? Fact. Not opinion. We know for a fact Rama had a wife called Sita, right? And they had 2 children, Lava and Kush. So already even you can see from the names. You can just see from the names. And from the, according to the Ramayana, Rama, who they call Lord, is an African. Not my words. Those are the very words of the text. And this bothers the Indians so much that they refuse to draw him the way the text says. So in order to get around it, instead of drawing him as an African, they draw him color blue. That's how much, that's how much it bothers them. Yeah, but when you look at, so they know, the Indians know that all their gods, from Krishna to Vishnu to Rama, each and every god of the Hindu pantheon is an African with dreadlocks. They know it. So an Indian will have attitude towards you, but on Friday he will go to temple and worship you as God. That's the irony of it. We are their gods. And they know it, and it bothers them to no end that we are their gods. So any time an Indian says Lord Rama, he's saying Lord African. He knows it. Every time he says Lord Krishna, he's saying Lord African. We are their gods. They bow down to us. It's you people who don't realize this. So you should remind Indians, anytime you meet them and they give you attitude, you should remind him that I am actually your God. Yeah, and see his face. Yeah, see his face. They're angry. I'm giving you all the secrets. They're angry. Yeah, but it's true. It is absolutely true. And the religion of Hinduism is from ancient Egypt, because we think that Krishna or Rama may be Osiris. So there's a whole history about Osiris, who Osiris was and what he did. And the Tekenu, the ancient Egyptians, their temple had a Tekenu. Now a Tekenu, the Europeans call it an obelisk. Okay? The Christians, the European Christians, call it a spire. Okay? The Muslims call it a minaret. But it's a Tekenu. And the Hindu, in their religion, they call it what? lingam. It is the same religion. It is the exact same religion. Now, you go to, and where does this religion come from? Where is this religion coming from? Just so you understand where the beliefs, the core of the belief is coming from. The core of the belief is coming from the idea that you encounter God in the mountain. See, he's the God of the mountains. You see, that's the very bedrock of all these religions. So when you see people going to the mountain to pray, they're going to, that's a very old, ancient idea. And you see the idea of mountains coming up over and over again. You see Moses going up to a mountain to communicate with God. You see Abraham going up to a mountain to sacrifice his child. You see Noah coming down from the mountain. So the mountain is always there as part of the ancient religions that existed amongst Africans. Now, this concept of mountain is the reason why the ancient Africans in Egypt were building pyramids. A pyramid is an artificial mountain upon which you can communicate with God, because their land was flat, so they decided to build an artificial mountain called a pyramid. Now you may think this is so unique. It's not really unique. Now, when you consider the name of a pyramid, you're never taught what these things really mean. They won't even give you the original name. They hide it. So the Ministry of Education assists in hiding information. So the actual name of a pyramid is Meru. Meru is the Egyptian word for pyramid. Okay? Meru. Why? Why Meru? Because the original mountain where people used to communicate with God is called what? Mount Meru. You understand? Mount Meru. And the original people called themselves what? Meru. The name Meru is the most special name in history, and no one has ever taught you that. The name Meru. These people in Kenya that you call Meru, that you may dismiss and ignore and think they're not special. Let me tell you, the Meru are the most special people ever. The Meru of Kenya, there's also another group in Tanzania called the Meru. These are special people. And you're never taught anything about the history of the Meru. Now, the first people on the earth called themselves the Meru. Why? I don't know why. But all the ancient peoples go by that name Meru. For example, you come from Kenya, you find people called the Meru. You go north, you'll find an ancient city called Meroe, but Meroe is just a version of Meru. You go a bit north, you enter into what is called ancient Egypt. What was the name of ancient Egypt? They called themselves Kemet, or what else? Tameru. Right? You cross over to Mesopotamia, you find a group of people who had a kingdom called the Sumeru, which they will teach you in school as Sumerian. It is not Sumerian, it is Sumeru. So you cross over to what is now called Iran. It was called Elam. Elam. And Elam, the L can be an R. So it can be Iramu, which is a version of Meru. So you go all the way to India. You find an ancient group of people who today call themselves the Tamil. Now, I want you to understand that the Tamil is the same as the Tameru or Tameri, who are what? Ancient Egypt. The same name. Okay? So you go a little bit east, you'll reach where you're crossing into Afghanistan. Now, once you reach at the border of Afghanistan, there's a string of mountains which are called what? The Pameru Mountains. Okay? And then you continue all the way to Cambodia, you find a group of people who are calling themselves what? The Meru in Cambodia. They are still there. You cross over, you keep on going, you end up all the way to Australia and New Zealand. You find a group of people calling themselves what? Maori, which is a version of what? Meru. What is Meru? Meru means black. The word U-R-U, U-R-E in history means black. So when they tell you that Abraham came from a village called Ur, it means that he came from a village called Black. Now you find that same root word Ur is what forms Meru. Okay? According to the ancient Sumerians, or the Sumeru, they tell us that the other name was called Sangiga, which means black people. So the root of the word Meru means black. Okay? You need to remember that. Meru means black, and you'll find this name everywhere. So you go to America, the Americas. What is the original name of America? It was called Amaru Khan. The name doesn't come from Amerigo Vespucci, it comes from Amaru Khan. And you've heard of this American musician called Tupac Amaru. That same name, Amaru Khan, is the same name Meru, means black. Now, you go to Egypt today, there's an ancient city where people live, and it's a very big city in Egypt, is called Cairo. Cairo means black. You come to Kenya, you find the similar word. A place called Iro means black. You go to a place called Njiro, means black. The root is the word URU, which means black. It always means black. Now, you go to Europe during the Middle Ages, there were black people who are living there. And the Mzungu would call those people Moor. M-O-O-R, which is from the root of the word Meru, which means black. Now, it is from those Moors that you get the name Morocco. Is from where you get the name Mauritania. Is from where you get the name Mauritius. All those names means black. When you meet someone called Morris, M-O-R-R-I-S, that means black. Maurice, M-A-U-R-I-C-E, means black. When you go to Europe and you meet a Mzungu called Muir, M-U-I-R, that root means black. And it is the same word as Moiro, as in Pastor Moiro. It is the same name Muir. It is the same name Maurice. All of it means what? Black. So you need to understand that in ancient times, everyone was an African. And they called themselves the Meru. And you'll find this name all over the earth. Now, they say that they encountered God on top of the mountain. The mountain was also called what? Meru. Now, when you go to Buddhism, they talk about the 5 celestial peaks of Buddhism, which are called what? Meru. So you go to Indonesia, you find there's a mountain called Meru. You come to East Africa, you find there's a mountain called Meru. You find a group of people called Meru. And then you have the ancient Sumerians, and which is why the ancient Egyptians had built an artificial mountain which they called a Meru, which is now called pyramid. The proper name is Meru, because the name of the celestial mountain where you meet God is called Meru. So you even go to Afghanistan, that mountain range is called Pameru. You understand? So there is nothing new in terms of religion. You need to understand all religions come from Africa. And all the gods of all the ancient religions are Africans. Every single instant, with no exceptions. Even when you go to study the religion of the Maya, the Mystics, the Aztecs, it makes no difference. Their gods are African. Not by me saying so, but by the very images that they drew. Go look at the Mayan codex. Look at the people who are the gods in that codex. Other than Quetzalcoatl, because that's a whole other story that we can discuss. And it's a very deep thing. Very deep. Because Quetzalcoatl is the same as the Uraeus on the pharaoh's head, and is the same as the Naga. So these things get very deep, and I don't want to go in that direction. What I wanted simply to tell you is this: every single god in history is an African, with no exception. I don't care what name they give you, it is an African. We have no records of any other god other than Africans. None. Even the Indians know it. And you see, the people you call Indians today in Kenya are not the original Indians. These are invaders from the north who came into India at the time of Alexander. And they found a fully developed culture and religion. And now they integrated themselves into that culture. And now they call themselves Indians, but really they're not Indians. Original Indians are not pink. And so when they came in, they found all the gods were African. So it bothers them because they hated Africans. The Africans of India. You know, India was called Hindu Kush. Okay? And so they started changing the color of the gods. But the text, they could not change the text. The text says that they are all black, but they started drawing cartoon pictures of themselves as the gods, but they are not the gods, and they know it. They know everything I'm saying is correct and true and factual. Everything. No one can contradict what I'm saying because it's true. So the Indian that you see in Kenya calling himself an Indian really is not an Indian. That is called an Aryan, an invader from the north. And they invaded that entire section. They invaded India, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, all these places where black people lived. But all these places were invaded. And now they look pink. So you look at the population of Iran, you think these are the ancient people. No, those are not the ancient people. All those are Aryans. That's why the country is called Iran. Iran simply means Aryan. And in India, you'll see they call themselves Aryans. They even have schools called Arya, Arya something, Arya Hospital, Arya something. Literally, these are and you remember the Germans called themselves what? The Aryans. It is the same people that invaded South and changed the color of the people and took on the identity of the places that they invaded. But all those countries are not their countries. They are not the original population. You go back 1000 BC, when you look at an Indian 1000 BC, he looks as black as you. You don't find these pink people in India in 1000 BC or even 500 BC. They invaded at the time of Alexander. You see, so that's where the confusion with you people comes in. You truly believe when you're reading about the Bible that you're reading about pink people. No, you're not. You're reading the stories about black people, which is where all the gods are black. And the Bible is also very consistent with that. It doesn't contradict anything that I've said. It also describes God as black, but you people pretend that, and you skip over, you refuse to read that part. You pretend that that's not what it's saying, yet that is exactly what the Bible is saying. They describe God as someone who looks like bronze, the color of bronze. They say that, who has hair like wool. That's an African. And in case there's confusion, they say he looks like a Sadiu stone. So you go into your Google, you type in Sadiu stone. How does a Sadiu stone? Does it look like pink to you? It looks like you. In case there's an argument, they also say he looks like a jasper stone. And behold, I saw one that looked like a jasper stone. Okay, so you type in, how does a jasper stone look like? Oh, behold, it's exactly like us. The same color as this. You don't see pink. They don't use the word pink anywhere. They are very consistent with all these other narratives, from the Sumerians to the ancient Egyptians. All of them tell you that the great gods of the past are all African. They are all black with zero exception. Even the Sumerians, they tell you that the people who were here before the flood, those who originated humanity on the earth, they call them the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki put the Anu on the ground. Who are the Anu? The Anu are the people. What does Anu mean? Anu means person. You know it. Because there is Anu, Andu, Mundu, Mtu, Bantu. You already know. I don't have to tell you. Anu means person. It's the same language. Right? So they tell you that the Anunnaki, who the Bible, in the Bible, that's the equivalent of angels. Okay? They describe the Anunnaki. The Sumerian text describe the Anunnaki. How do they look like? They have afros and they have brown skin. Not my words. Those are not my words. That's what the Sumerian texts say. And in fact, it is so clear that the Mzungu could not change that part. Could not change that part. And you know the good thing about the Sumerians? They wrote on clay tablets. You cannot change it. You cannot rub it and change it. Clay tablets. And they could not interpret it. By the time they were able to interpret it, people had already taken pictures of all those clay tablets, so they could not change the story. Once the meaning of the writing was known, how to interpret and to write that language, now everyone could read. All the gods are African, with no exception, with kinky hair. The Sumerians say that, the Bible says that, the Hindu text says that, the Buddhist says that. You people. There is no Mzungu God. When you call God a Mzungu, you insult God. There is no Mzungu God. The day you will meet an angel of God, you will see it looks exactly like an African. Exactly like you. And you'll be confused because you despise yourself. There is no Mzungu God. all ancient texts say the same thing. All the gods that the ancient people knew and met and worshipped were all black. And they would always say, the ancient Egyptians would make it very clear that every single god is black. Black is the divine color. Black is divinity. White means ghost. All of them would say the same thing. So you mean to tell me all those ancient cultures were confused? People writing books 4,500 BC. 5,000, no, that's even more than thousands of years before today. You mean to tell me all those people are confused? Why would they describe the gods as black? That's a very good question. They would do that because you need to understand that according to all these cultures, there was before the flood and after the flood. Now, before the flood, all the people were African. The Mzungu didn't exist, the Chinese didn't exist, the Indian didn't exist. Every single person was an African. You understand that? Now, these people that came before the flood were vastly superior to us. The Hindu text said that Rama ruled for 11,000 years. When you look at the Sumerian king list, they also have ridiculous long times. And also the Bible alludes to that. It says that people were living long time. And they were vastly superior intellectually and in all ways. When you read the Ramayana, they tell you the way the people could fly around. They could do rockets. They had rockets or things that sound like rockets when you read the description. And then the flood came and a few people survived. The Sumerians have the exact same story as the Bible. It's called the Epic of Gilgamesh. Same story as the Bible. So that's not unique. And also the ancient Egyptians tell us that there was in fact a flood. Killed everyone and a few people survived who recreated humanity. And the ancient Egyptians give us the flood date as 9,000 years before. It was Sonchis, the priest, who was giving the story. I think to Solon, I'm not sure. But anyway, Sonchis says that the flood was 9,000 years before his time. Now before us, our time, that would be 11,400 years. So he says there was a flood. Killed everyone except a few survivors who recreated humanity. Now, these survivors carried the stories from ancient times. They carried all those stories. The stories of great men who did amazing things. Those are the stories, those are the people who in post-flood become the gods. People like Osiris, like Rama, like Enki and Enlil. The stories of the people who were there before the flood, who are amazing. Now they become gods in this time period. Because we cannot do those same things that they were able to do. Now, because everyone before the flood was an African, that's how you end up with the idea that all the ancient gods are what? Are African also. Because the Mzungu doesn't show up in existence until like 7,000 years ago. You see, the Mzungu and all his variants, it doesn't matter. They don't show up until 7,000 years ago. Probably sooner. 5,000 BC. Prior to that, everyone is an African. They had never seen a Mzungu, so they wouldn't know to worship a Mzungu as any god. And anytime the Bible is talking about an angel, they're talking about Africans. They're talking about black people. They're not talking about Europeans. You people are so brainwashed. So that's why it is fundamentally important for everyone to understand the history of religion. You need to understand, where do these concepts come from? Where does everything come from? So that you can understand that you've been conned. When you're bowing down to a cartoon image of a Mzungu, you've been conned. There is no Mzungu God. God looks exactly like you. And even the Bible says that. The Bible says that God said, let us create man after our own image. Image means I take a mirror, I put up the mirror against your face and you look exactly the same. Now, if God said, let us create man in our image, and then he created an African, how does God look like? Because God never created the Mzungu, never created the Chinese, never created the Indian. The only people who are created on earth were Africans. So how can he look anything other than an African? I mean, come on, this is logic. And that is the exact same story that the Sumerians say. The Sumerians answered the question of who is the us when the Bible says, let us. Who is it referring to? Because it's referring to more than one person. So the Sumerians have the answer for that. They tell you the Anunnaki said, let us create people who will do the job that we are doing on earth. Let them continue taking care of earth. People who look like us but are not quite us. And they created the people. And how did the people look like? Exactly like Africans. That's not me saying. That's the ancient Sumerians saying. That the people had afros and they had brown skin. And they called themselves the Sangika. There is no Mzungu God. Every single God in history is an African. And the day you will encounter an angel of God, you will see they look exactly like Africans. So you people need to stop bowing down to the statue of the Mzungu. That is not God. That is a blasphemy against God. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Kenya's time has come. Our time has come. Your time has come. A time to succeed and not fail. A time to grow wealth and not poverty. A time to go up and not down. It's time for you to stop walking and drive your car. Stop renting and buy yourself a house. It's your time to get blessed. Join the CCV movement and together let us kick poverty and unemployment out of Kenya. Become a member today. Donate what you can. And remember that the CCV is the only political organization in Kenya that is squarely built upon Christian values, unlike the rest. We'll see you next time. Thank you.